Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Fleece, broadcasting to you from the GBTA Conference here in Hamburg. Joining me today is Jack Ramsey, CEO of TripStax. Jack, thanks for being here today.
No problem.
So a little background on TripStax. Last year, you were at the GBTA Europe Conference for the first time as a new technology disruptor in the market. You were very early stage, and it seems a lot has happened since then. How would you sum up the last year at the company?
Yeah, a lot has happened. I mean, I think we launched in March last year, so what were we, 5-6 months in by the time we got to GBTA. And since then, I think we've acquired, we had just acquired a business when we last spoke to you guys at GBTA in Brussels, and we were sort of teasing the fact that we were trying to buy another one. So we acquired a business in the Nordics from Travelport, a business that I used to work for when I used to work in Travelport, and we've now integrated that fully into our stack. So we've got a number of customers on who came with that business and our own customers, and we're kind of merging the propositions together. So that's been a lot of work. We elevated one of the ladies who came with that business, Marika. I can never remember how to pronounce her second name because it's very Finnish, but she joined us, and she is now the MD of that business. And it's going from strength to strength. So we made a couple of acquisitions. We signed a bunch of customers. We had a lot of traction in the US, which we didn't necessarily expect, but the US became a market for us that was a big opportunity. And we're launching at this event another module that we've been building towards throughout the year. It's been chaos, really. We've grown the team, added new people. And we've been rife with implementation. So we've tried to settle things down slightly from the initial chaos of launching a startup, and now we're sort of humming along as a well-oiled machine. So it's been a crazy year, but a great year.
That's a heck of a first year, merging and integrating multiple companies, hiring a bunch of talent, growing in multiple continents. And you mentioned you're launching something new here at this year's conference, 2 new TripStax modules. I think they're called QC and hotels. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, how that's going to help your clients?
So hotels is what I mentioned earlier. So we acquired a business called Hotels On. And we sort of killed the Hotels On name. So here we've launched a completely new website, new product, rebranded the whole thing, connected it to the TripStax core. So that's a hotel booking platform. Strategically, we bought it because it's hotel content that we can put alongside. We had a module called TripStax Content, which was air content. So all the GDS is connected, and then non-GDS NDC connections, aggregation connections. And now we're marrying hotel alongside that. So it's all kind of Lego building blocks towards a sort of a future that we're working towards that we'll start to talk about a bit more next year. QC kind of came to us. We knew that strategically at some point, maybe next year, QC would be something where we maybe could launch iteratively a few components, because we have it in the stack. It's a fundamental part of what TripStax does within the TripStax core. But we hadn't thought we'd go this early and say it's a defined module, commercialize it and put it out. Some guys came to us in one event actually in the US about 6 months ago, and said, look, we know what the TripStax core does. We've been looking at some of these other modules you've got. Help us with the data in a bit more comprehensively at the point the agent is interacting with that data. So this QC module essentially is a rules engine. It's quite a vast rules engine that before that data goes to our TripStax modules, we're interacting with it, doing a bunch of stuff to it, pushing it back to suppliers, whether it be GDS or non-GDS. And so we've kind of commercialized it quicker than we thought we would. And now it's interesting because although it's applicable to a TMC audience, we've got a bunch of corporate clients that are coming to us directly and saying, how can we benefit from this as well?
Yeah.
And I think that will evolve next year quite dramatically. Corporates going direct to tech firms, looking for ways to sort of cleanse and consume data that they maybe haven't been able to do in the past. So yeah, 2 new modules. It kind of builds the stack from 8 to 10. And I think because of the sort of premise of what we've built, there's so much versatility with the core that we sort of have to be careful that we don't jump on every opportunity because there's so much we can do. So I think these 2 modules will be our stack now for the next sort of 12 months at least. We'll see how we get on with those. And then we might have to start knocking some modules off, you know?
I think they call that a first-class problem when you have all these different opportunities and you have to remain focused.
It is. It's a fantastic problem to have.
Yeah. So that's a good segue into maybe my last question, which is, as you look to 2024, which is right around the corner, what are your predictions for the business travel tech landscape next year? Are there particular trends that you're keeping an eye on that are emerging that you guys are starting to leverage?
I think for me on a personal level, and it's really interesting, our industry, I feel in the past couple of years, has been willing to have, not an argument, a disagreement about the direction the industry is going in. I think we've seen that at this event. Some of the sort of main stage sessions have been questioning the sort of legacy of the industry and seeing how that will evolve. I think we'll start to see this kind of NDC concept that has been around for most of my life. I think that will start to get traction. I think 2024 will be the year where we start to actually see real progress in that space. I think certain airlines have really pushed that this year, and people are having to adopt it. And I think it's a fantastic thing. I think NDC is a tired way of sort of categorizing what it is.
Right.
I think the capabilities of how we distribute air content, as well as hotels, mobility, other things, will start to really dynamically change in 2024. I also think you'll see everybody tell you that they've got AI somewhere. We do AI, or we're gonna build AI. I don't think we as an industry, I think there's pockets where people go, I know exactly what it is, I know exactly how it can apply, but it's such a broad spectrum that I think everybody will talk about it because they feel they have to. And my counsel to our industry is learn, educate yourself on what AI is, and then take advantage of it iteratively, only where it makes sense to your business. But everybody will talk about it, and the ones that actually use it, you'll be able to really clearly see the advantage they have, and hopefully we'll be one of those.
Excellent. Well, we'll leave it there. Jack, thank you so much for joining me in the broadcast studio today in Hamburg. I'm Kevin Fleece, signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in.